to Linux Weekly Daily Wednesdays, where we can sit back, relax, take that midweek break, and talk about some of the fun things going on in the world of Linux, open source, anything else that catches our interest. I am Vin Stone. That is Pedro Mateus, and Jill.
Hello.
Got a shot, so she's relaxing, taking a week off.
Yes.
Yes.
Apparently, the second dose of that particular vaccine is nasty.
A little bit.
So
it hits people different ways, man. You gotta see like people talking about like, oh man, I really like the Johnson one. It hits better. It's like a smooth high.
It's a weird kind of jazz, but yes.
It is. Man, we got a lot to talk about this week. A little bit of drama, but I think a little drama stuff, this will be the last time we get to talk about it. But right off the bat, I want to say we finally got everything set up yesterday. Sometimes wouldn't you agree that we have like spurts of collaboration and like getting stuff done? Like, boom. Okay.
Very much so.
It comes in spurts after like procrastination eventually gets stuff done. The IRC for our Libra chat at irc.libra.chat. That is, we've claimed it. We got the ownership of it. Thank you, Friezo. He turned over his, the founder's access, but feel free to hit him with any questions you have about IRC. Won't bother me a bit. You'll love it. But yeah, that's the thing. It's pound Linux Themecast. So go hop in that. That is a bridge to our live chat. So if you're in IRC chat, legacy, we're always going to keep IRC around as long as possible. And Twitch, so everybody can chat during live shows. Outside of that, I've been crawling under like music consoles and stuff and ripping out stuff I don't agree with because they messed up and said I could. Which also
you were talking.
Yeah. Wasn't cheap.
That was, no, it was not.
Listen to the pre-show if you want more about that story. How about you, Pedro? You got anything fun going on, man?
Not really. I do have something. I have. You all know that I have the ThinkPad T42 already, and I've actually been playing around with it, installing Trinity on it, along with all of the other low-end laptops that I have. Runs great, by the way. W11 with Trinity. But I also found a cheap ThinkPad T43 on eBay.
What's the difference?
The housing, it's got a X300 ATI mobility Radeon instead of the Fire GL 120. It's the... I can't remember which, I think it's a 7500 was the mobility Radeon that this one has, I think. But yeah, it uses the R100 or R128 drivers, which are now, not actively supported, but the T43 uses newer version. And the screen is 1440 by 1050. Which is the big difference. So that's the bit that I want is actually that screen inside this shell because this shell looks much neater. That one's a bit busted. So yeah, that'll be coming soon.
Hey man, like
it was cheap. It was like £20 on eBay. I wasn't expecting to win the auction, but I did.
This is one of the dangers with eBay sometimes, man. I mean, I have that because I see like these, I do that Interfacing Linux series and I see these little things going on. I'm like, but it's always balances. How hard is that going to be to give away?
Yeah, I don't intend to give that one away. I'm just going to take the parts out that I want to use and the rest is going in the bin.
All right, fine. Speaking of things that went into the bin recently, man, Freenode. IRC operators. Yeah, we got a little bit we got to talk about, man. They have performed a mass seizure of channels, and like they say, operators is like one dude, man. This guy. Wow, because Lee has seized over 700 channels because they mentioned they had the audacity. And stay tuned to mention Libra.chat in their topic pages. Now, little tiny projects you might have never heard of, like Gentoo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Their Freenode channels have been
the
hijacked.
anime channel.
Yeah. So, I mean, but, like even smaller projects like, oh no, Ubuntu, they did it. They've moved and, wow. I don't even know what to say about that. I mean, OpenBSD, Wikimedia, FOSDEM, etc. all get this treatment. And I don't know, man, like whatever strategy Lee is applying is, I'm just going to say, completely impervious to logic at this point. I don't know how to explain it, because if you wanted to kill Freenode, you can just pull the plug and be done with it. But
that would have been quicker.
And I was watching on Hacker News, just reading through the comments this morning, several from operators in channels too. These weren't just rando drive-bys. Like, we were genuinely in the process of setting up a bridge between Freenode and LibreChat, so we didn't split our community. Guess what we're not doing now?
Yeah, no, you don't really get given much of a chance if some random account with admin level access joins your channel, takes it over, sets it to sets it as a redirect to the, just locks it, sets it to channel, redirect, right, to bang bang channel name. So that is abuse of power. That is everyone, when this whole thing started going down, started throwing the abuse of power allegations around, and this pretty much describes that to a T. And all the complaints that the previous staffers that have now moved to LiberaChat they're pretty much nailed this fact. And I too questioned the business practice of the Crown Prince, and why would you do that?
But I think I said it in Discord. I don't know if I've said it on one of our shows. It doesn't matter. The end result is Freenode dead. It's gone.
Oh yeah.
I mean, enjoy the empty castle, I guess, but anyone when you do stuff like this,
what was the quote that Varys said in Game of Thrones? He would burn it all down if he could be king of the ashes.
I don't know. Well, that's all the drama for this week, Pedro.
This isn't really drama. This is just, more shady things coming out of the Audacity project.
Would you say shady? Because did you really, when this hit, did you go, oh?
Not really. It's very much on brand with everything we've seen up to this point. But it is, if not shady, at least questionable. Because Worked in Theory submitted a post in the discussions for Audacity on GitHub saying, following multiple discussions across various threads in the Audacity GitHub repo, we are creating this topic to keep all relevant conversations in a single location. And they're basically turning the Audacity license into a different one. Why? So that they can include, as they say, we may choose any license for the code that we have written ourselves. We do not have this ability when it comes to code written by additional contributors. And they do plan in the future to use parts of the Audacity code that they control in other non-open source projects.
Will Audacity remain open source? And, this is in their fact. And it's like, yes, Audacity is always 100% open source. The CLA also allows us to use the code in other products that may not be open source. Surprisingly, Legasp, people have issues with this.
Yeah. I think this is slightly less egregious than the previous one about the whole, telemetry on by default. But it is kind of as ethics go, the GPL specifically does not allow that. If you're including GPL code, you're going to have to at least make the GPL portion open.
I don't know. What they've done is... with the CLA, they went back. I think GPLv3 allows that with the CLA or so. I am way on the weeds on this. Please write in, correct me, because this is spitballing. Keep that in mind. Two randos on the internet. With this, they had to go back and
none of us are lawyers.
Contribute code. Anybody who did code contributions, like, hey, sign this, and so you're cool with that. Which they did the legwork on that. That I don't necessarily have a problem with. I can see like future development. That could be a problem. I saw Strider in Discord. Like, hey, what about like MIT or Apache license? Wouldn't that be big? Not requiring this offshoot thing of like that's a little weird, kinda. And well, it would. Now, one of the longtime contributors, somebody, that they tracked down. He's like, hey, like last time I contributed to Audacity, it was a long time ago, he implemented the pause button. I think around with Audacity 3.0 didn't have a pause button. And he shared his thoughts. He's like, the Audacity contributor, small team, and we're old. The new kid on the block, the main contributing team is like 40. Like he said, Tim, he wants the project to stick around. And in its current state, that's going to require financing, stuff like this, what Muse is doing to continue the project. That's why he signed off on it. And he's like, that is fine, which I want to be able to see his perspective. Now, someone did ask a question under his post on GitHub there was no answer to it. And you can go read it yourself. All these links are going to be in our show notes. And that question was, were you paid to sign it?
Yeah, we talked about this earlier too, but yeah, that's a loaded question. That no matter what the person is going to answer to that, you're always going to be suspicious. So silence doesn't look good either, but it is very much a loaded question. And yes, everyone in chat is saying yes, the contributor license agreement is a separate thing from the license. And as Ven made sure to point out, the Audacity license itself, it is open source and it will be open source. Yeah. It's just parts of the code within Audacity that may be reused for something else, which will probably not be open source. Otherwise, they wouldn't have bothered to mention this at all.
I always want to err on the side of maybe this is, I can see from the company standpoint, and it's like, hey, we just want to cover our bases with this, right? Mm-hmm. And
I guess they want to be upfront about it right from the get-go this time because, we all saw what happened.
Right. So, I don't know. I hope everything works out in the end. Worst case scenario, as I was telling Pedro on the pre-show, like, I'm on Debian. I don't have to worry about this for like 3 years, man. Come on. But
yeah. And the old version of Audacity, even if they do something really naughty to it, the old version's still going to be there technically. So
this is true. But even with this stuff going on, I've started looking into cutting Audacity because I use Audacity in a very, very limited capacity for the stuff that we're doing. Mm-hmm. And just pulling that out as a just in case. For me, it's not that big a deal because I make a few small edits and that's it. And I can easily do that in DaVinci Resolve, or I could just do it in Audor or Mixbus. So yeah, that's a thing. Pedro, I got to ask you a serious question, man.
Okay.
Would you download a cheeseburger?
Oh, absolutely. I don't even need to have time to think about that one. Absolutely.
So when you ask Pedro Mateus if he would be willing to download a cheeseburger, Pedro will look you dead in the eye and say, where's the beef?
So where's the filament that I can use to print the cheeseburger?
Don't give him ideas.
Yeah.
Take it.
Okay. You may have seen this because this did the rounds on Reddit first, and then it went to Twitter, and it kind of blew up again. Copyright notice from ISP for pirating Linux. Mm-hmm. So yes, Xfinity. Yeah, Xfinity sent out a very naughty email to one of their clients. I assume Nate60 is the client in question. And you can see at the bottom is like, oh, infringement method, BitTorrent. But what is it that he downloaded? The Ubuntu 2004.2-0 desktop AMD64.ISO. And who, might you be wondering, is the claimant? Because it's not canonical. No. The claiming party is OPSEC Online Anti-Piracy. Now, I want Canonical Legal to give Xfinity and OPSEC Online Anti-Piracy something to worry about, but it's probably not going to happen. But I can dream, right?
You filthy Linux hacker. You're just up to no good, man. I just had to get some popcorn and play around with this. It's clearly a case of a false ID, but I just wanted to bring it up for the fun. I went looking around. And apparently the hash for this, which will be in the show notes if you want to verify it for yourself, do a Google search on it. It matches the for Rebirth 2016 HD RIP from 5 years ago. There's a hit. So whatever company this is, they're just using an outdated database to go, hey, that matches.
Yeah, that hash that was downloaded via BitTorrent, that matches, so copyright notice immediately.
And that's the thing. I mean, that's the valid hash for Ubuntu ISO. So, okay. Yeah, it's just showing up like that. I fight that just in case, because a lot of ISPs have I think Comcast is like with 10 strikes or something like that. They don't really care as long as you keep giving them money. They're just doing what they have to do under the law. So
they'll lose safe harbor provision if they don't. Yeah, it's the YouTube issue still. Again, use VPNs. Just use VPNs, please.
No.
We're not sponsored by any of them. None of them are paying us any money. But yeah, use a VPN, please.
Don't listen to Big VPN over here, man. He's just trying to trick you.
There's many. A few of them have questionable people at the helm.
How about this, Patriot?
Like the owners of Freenode?
Never use a free VPN. Actually, that VPN, I did some research on that. That was sold off. They no longer have IPA.
Oh, they no longer own it. Oh, okay. So I might actually renew the subscription because I've had that VPN for a while.
This is the reality. Yeah, that was just a weird thing I wanted to bring up to everyone. Now, we do know Linus Torvalds loves himself some Nvidia. Can't get enough of them. Loves his company. He is jelly of Jensen's jacket. But on the Nvidia note, GeForce 600, 700, they're going into retirement. Pedro, what are we going to do with my brand new 470?
Well, it's the 600 and 700 series, and if you've been paying attention at the GTX 650 and 770 prices in 780s on eBay, you've probably seen that the price on those has been skyrocketing too. Something tells me it's going to plateau starting now. Because Nvidia's just dropping support for Kepler. It's gone.
I don't know, man. So I went looking into this. This could affect you because you run into situations with old. I mean, I assume up until recently where I wasn't looking at the budget 2060 I have in Threadbooper for rendering. I'm like, man, I could probably make $300 off that thing now.
Yeah.
Yeah. When 1660 supers are going for like $500-600. You kidding me? But older cards, like the card that was in here was a 900 series, but, which I'd used in Jackbox, I reuse cards. Your new card goes into, a lower powered box doing something else. And I have a QVS 300 Quattro in Jackbox that doesn't have anything plugged into it just because, hi, MSI, you made a motherboard that doesn't boot without a video card in it. But one thing that I was very conscious about is, now you're looking at this, you get the Nuvo project, it's the open source NVIDIA drivers. They work for the most part. Technically, you can get a display with most cards. The chipset that's going to be affected with this is the NVE0. And I went to the support matrix. Those are pretty much baked, though, so you don't have much to worry about. Like, even the 3D stuff, you're not going to get the, performance isn't going to be on par, but you're not going to have access to SLI. I hate to break any hearts there. And, but the big one, the reason I started saying this is power management. There is a reason that I went through the hassle of forcing the official, like, legacy Nvidia driver onto Jackbox, but that card is for the power management because I wanted to be able to just basically go to sleep, which isn't an option with the open source drivers.
Yeah. And if you're running your GPU at full tilt the whole time, it's also going to degrade performance because it's going to start getting very, very hot, and that clock speed is going to come down to try and combat it. That's but dude, yeah, the simple fact that they have as much accomplished with the Nuvo drivers as they have is impressive. And if you have a 750 or a 750 Ti, those are Maxwell cards, so those will still be supported. You'll be good on them. And the NVIDIA drivers 470 branch will be the long-lived branch according to video cards. So yeah, you will probably still be able to use that 780 Ti for 3 more years.
Well,
actively supported, at least.
Yeah, the 770 and above were the different chipsets, right?
No. Of the 700 series, only the 750 and the 750 Ti were Maxwell. Everything else was Kepler, like the 600 series.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
and the 800 series, which only came out for laptops, but we don't count them.
If you get a 770 and above, you're good for a while. You don't really have to worry about it. Right?
Yeah, you'll still get active support in the long-lived branch for another at least 3 years.
Okay. Yeah. One thing you can say about NVIDIA, as much as it's going to pain some people, their long-term driver support has been a great thing. It has. Like if you get old products, legacy stuff, new stuff, I mean, having the drivers ready to download before you can, okay, let's pretend we're not in the current situation when you could just go buy the card the day it launched.
Yes.
Yeah. The drivers were available for download. It wasn't like, oh, when can I use my new 6700 XT? Yeah, I don't know, 4 or 5 months, and we'll probably have something working pretty well.
Yeah, no, I'm glad that AMD has now completely open source. The drivers that count are the open source ones, because yeah, when it came to legacy support, my goodness, FGLRX was bad. It was beyond bad.
Quit hating on AMD, you NVIDIA show.
I'm just saying, the open source Mesa drivers, amazing. You want to get an AMD GPU out of the box working nowadays? You can, if you can afford it.
Yes. One thing we can all afford is a floppy disk. You know, hey kids, you might know it as the save icon. Might have never seen one in real life, or maybe you ordered one from the retro floppy store, which is probably a thing.
Probably. They're probably so expensive nowadays too.
Yeah, for $20, you can get a real 3D printed save icon. Floppix, an embedded Linux single floppy distribution. I know the first thing that's going to come to mind for people of my ilk, like, what about DSM? Like, fair enough. But this guy wanted to build one for an embedded system, and he took the time to document it. So you can go on a trip and be like, hey, man, my first thought was, this scares me to even breathe this into existence. There's probably a market for 1.44 megabyte thumb drives for people who want the real retro experience. I really wish I wasn't joking, but oh, look at this. This guy's a day walker. But, you know, the project had to run the latest kernel. He's working on this. Also the ability to mount more floppy, best floppy. Include support tools like Nano. That's great. And to have all the documentation available. I just thought this was neat. I wanted to give it a shout out because early days of playing around with Linux and just getting a floppy to boot Linux. Like, hey, you could play around on it. I can do this stuff. Couldn't do much, but yeah, let's go back to the bad old days because everyone wants to be retro, right, Pedro?
To be fair, there's certainly an argument to be made of keeping that really old laptop that you have a lot of sentimentality attached to. and you want to keep it running and you don't want to, just toss it into a landfill. There's an argument to be made there. And there were, I had one that was actually Nori's dad, that he lost the power supply to. And yeah, it only ran DOS. And the only storage it had, the internal storage was minuscule. And yeah, most of the effective storage was from 3.5-inch floppy disks. And yeah, no, this would, you're running a modern operating system on a laptop that old, or a system that old with no internal storage, like the old IBMs. Okay.
All right. I just thought it was neat. I like seeing stuff like that. That if not for the practical application of it, it's just the challenge of doing something like that. Yes, it might have been done, but I didn't do it. So, hey, let's...
Yep.
Yeah, you might mess up and learn something on the journey, and that is part of the fun. Now, Pedro, why was it hard to get an MSI laptop back in the day? You made it sound like it was an adventure. You did, yeah. You just read your own notes, eh?
It wasn't no, I was shifting tabs. It wasn't an adventure, but there was a time that MSI released a couple of their laptops with no operating system. Well, it had FreeDOS installed, and I remember seeing them, and they were cheaper without Windows than their pre-enabled Windows pre-activated versions. That was very much, to me, it was very, okay, yes, gimme. But yeah, at the time I couldn't afford one. And I know a lot of people who did get one, and some of them even installed Linux on it. And if you were one of those people, you might want to give MSI Dragon Center for Linux a try. There's currently 2 laptops that the developer has. Is 2 laptops or 3 laptops? I had it and then I lost it. But yeah, that he tested on and got working. If you have one of those laptops, you should absolutely just try this. It's a Python script. There's really not much to it.
Man, the dude's caps game is strong.
Oh yeah, no, he's calling your attention. There we go. It's the MSI G66 and the GS65. So he only tested on Ubuntu.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as he knew, there were 3 issues out of the box, which installation threw some errors, some button that wasn't visible, and the battery indicator would change to 0 when you were changing fan modes. Those have all been fixed, so all of the known bugs have been fixed, confirmed. It's completely, it's a completely bug-free software.
Oh, I thought he was doing some emojis. Okay. All right. Now, just taking a look at that, I think this is very interesting. Now, I'm going to... controversial opinion. If you have a GUI app, because people don't want to deal with command line stuff and you want to mess around with stuff in the BIOS, I gotta stress GUI app, maybe throw a screenshot on the page. I will keep saying this every time I run across this because I don't know what it looks like. And if I'm going to go through the trouble of setting up a GUI, like, give me a hint, or at least a description. Like, oh yes, the corners are nice and round, and you'll find this color shading gradient and da da.
There are screenshots in the repo.
That
if you look at the
me.
file list, there's 3 screenshots.
Doesn't do me any good, Pedro. That's even more insulting, isn't it? Because you went through the trouble of taking screenshots.
They're there. Just didn't link them properly.
There we go. At least that looks like a proper Linux app.
Yeah, it looks like What If Zenity, but from Python.
I don't have a problem with that. I'm like, all right. That's how stuff used to look back in the day, and it's not too fancy. But there we go. Yeah, fan speeds and set everything.
Yep,
I'm down with that. Pedro Mateus. I don't have a problem with it at all. So it has the graph. The widget is in alpha testing, which I guess that could be handy. I have nothing but disdain for laptops. So that's what it is.
I like laptops.
I know you do. I think people should listen to you on this particular topic for once time ever. But is that fan control really that big of an issue on Linux?
Yes.
Okay.
because maybe not so much nowadays, but it used to be very much the case that on Linux, if you were running a laptop, you were either running at full tilt or you were throttling yourself so much to save as much battery as possible. There was no in between. And one of the things that drains a lot of battery, because you're having to spin a fan, or in the case of these MSI gaming laptops, two, you're having to spin those two fans to keep the GPU and the CPU properly cooled. You probably want to set a fan profile to ramp up as the temperature ramps up, and only get into screechy turbine fan mode once it gets, okay, we're at the point where the plastic around the laptop is starting to melt. So yeah, and it saves battery. If you are using it on battery and you're doing something that requires the GPU while on battery, don't play games while on battery, please. But in case you are doing it, controlling that fan speed will give you a good few extra half an hour to an hour of battery life. So and disable the keyboard backlight.
Get all of that set up, hop on the bed and put it right on the comforter on the bed, right?
Yeah, if you're just choking your laptop, that's not going to help you.
Dang. Next time, laptop. Okay, that's not the only laptop. So we mentioned Libreboot, and they made some more progress, man. They sure have. We got a couple of new models. Now, this is the open source firmware that you can put on actually one desktop and a couple of laptops. The big ones in this is the Acer G4 3T AM3. We're getting there, modern-ish stuff, if you squint. That is the desktop. Now, I don't know how modern these are. I'm sure Pedro will tell me, but there's also support for the Lenovo ThinkPad R500 and the ThinkPad X301. So that's 18 systems so far. And you know what? I'm too much of a chicken to even think about doing this to anything, man.
Oh, I want to try. I really do.
Something it's just that I'm looking. Flames have to be coming out of the box before, and even then, I'll just see if it can handle it before I'll mess with a BIOS update.
BIOS updates ever since Ryzen came around, they don't scare me as much as they used to. But yeah, I want to try and actually setting up a proper laptop with Libreboot, actually setting it up myself. If for no other reason that I actually went to check on the Libreboot.org store, because Leah does sell some of the laptops with the pre-installed Libreboot and Triskel. And I went, okay, how much for the T400? £400. You know what? I'll just get one off eBay and do it myself. I just need to get the cable to clip onto the EEPROM, probably. I think that's where it's flashed. And yeah, just flash it there.
JTAG.
Yeah, effectively.
I don't know. Maybe I'm where you're at. Like if I had things I didn't mind torching, I would just go, oh, that's neat. But
yeah, most of the laptops, the Acer desktop, I think that's one of the sort of thin client-like, very small desktops. But yeah, all the laptops are the X200, the X301. They're all i945 Intel series. So you're looking at the Penryn up to...
What's the advantage?
What was the one behind?
Is there any advantage outside of like maybe a few milliliters more than the healthy amount of paranoia?
That is very much the driving fuel, absolutely. But yeah, it is. You have a firmware. Your boot firmware is entirely open, and you completely control everything that it does, including, but not limited to, the Intel management engine.
PSP?
That is, or the PSP in the case of those Asus enterprise workstation motherboards that are also supported via Libreboot, which is amazing. Seriously, good job.
Do you cut off PSP?
I haven't. Not on this box.
Come on, man. You're going to get the government brainworms if you don't.
Probably, and if they can figure out the mess of a Linux operating system that I have going on, Go ahead.
Yeah, you're going to get hacked. Like, oh, man, it's KDE. Pfft, no, I ain't messing with it.
Yeah, I probably won't even notice.
Okay. This is a segment I like to call, I'm not particularly good human being about a lot of stuff, because I'm going to talk about Spirit. It's a program that gives you a GIF overlay of your favorite on your favorite terminal. It's going to work with all major DEs. And we got to wait for that screenshot. We do. We absolutely do. There's notes for Cinnamon users, notes for Element. Wait for it. Oh, yes. 100% yes. All the yeses. I'll take one yes and a side of also yes with this, because I need to know, or I need work to be developed. What are we seeing, Pedro? You can describe this.
Yes, the background picture is Mikasa Ackerman from Attack on Titan, and the grumpy-looking fella sitting on the terminal window is Levi Ackerman from Attack on Titan.
Okay.
So, clearly that person likes Attack on Titan.
So basically you can throw some weeb stuff on, and it like sits, like sad Keanu.
Is it a GIF? You can throw it on it, yes.
Now, can we make anime noises, like the horrific ones in that game we reviewed last week when you rolled? You're like, oh God, yes. No. I'm just saying, if we can get that, good enough, but if we can do some anime noises, I really want to know. But I'm asking for a friend that I might potentially upgrade this on their box without telling them. Again, we're going back to that not necessarily a good person sometimes problem I have.
Yeah, I think the original was very much, I like me some cutesy stuff and I want to have some cutesy GIFs on my X11 Windows. Doesn't have to be your terminal. It could literally be anything.
There's app images, so you can inflict this on people kind of guilt-free, right?
Yeah. Yeah, no, you don't have to worry about building it because, admittedly, I tried it. I just downloaded the app image and I pointed just a GIF that I had was just, was the ooh GIF, like the mouse going ooh. That was it. I just put that and you start up a window and it shows up wherever, in whatever coordinates you set it to. Yeah.
Because the only thing I could think of, I'm like, all right, 10-hour Gandalf or Ravercorn.
You absolutely can.
And this is why I need to know if I can trigger a sound event for it, because it needs 10-hour Gandalf with epic sax or Ravercorn with whatever that nightmare stuff is behind that on the 10-hour.
Yeah, that's probably going to have to be a separate thing because this is just very much PNGs and GIFs.
All right. Fair enough. So everyone, I did a thing. I've talked about it on the show maybe week before last, BitFocus Companion, because I went out like a lot of people did and, did the whole streaming thing. I didn't dye my hair. I didn't get a hot tub, but I did get a Stream Deck eventually. It took me a long time. I avoided it for a minute. And the problem with running a Stream Deck on Linux is, well, if you just need it for non-streamy stuff, like I want application launcher and stuff like that, brilliant. There's a great program that has been available for a long time. But one of the problems I've run into, and other people have, because they've asked me about it over the years, is if you were using a Stream Deck with hotkeys, because no BS, in order to change a scene, if I'm going from this scene to there's Pedro, and if I'm coming back, the way you do that is you go into your advanced settings or hotkey setting. It's in the menu somewhere under S. And you say, okay, so if I'm going to switch to that scene, it's going to be Control-W butterfly. And you're good. Then the next scene. Then what you do with a Stream Deck is you use XD Tool, or XDude as I call it, and you say, okay, on key press, do this, and it's going to send the signal from the Stream Deck to activate that. But the way that works is it's got to get window focus, and it's going to lose window focus depending on what it's jumping around in between. And that's another thing you have to do with XD Tool is like give it, a vague search pattern of like, hey, go for this window kind of with this name. And sometimes you get multiple things with Linux on it, on Linux shows, and that can get fun. But you got to think about this. If you're doing like a 2-monitor stream, this is where it can really hit you. Is you're playing a game full screen on your other monitor, you get OBS pulled up and get your stuff, and you want to, switch or activate something. You want to pull up chat, or you want to do, some type of overlay stream effect. You're going to lose focus on the game. What do 99% of the games do when you lose focus? They pause,
minimize,
or
just pause.
Yes, that's the other 1%. So I thought it would be a good idea to show people a way around this. And BitFocus Companion, also the other videos that I've seen for getting a Stream Deck on Linux are like 45 minutes long. We can do this in under 6, kids. Old man Vin's got you covered. Companion Pi, OBS WebSockets, OBS. You need Raspberry Pi 3, Raspberry Pi 4, an SD card reader. You set it up on your Pi. There's an image. You don't have to do anything. You pop it in the Pi, boom, boot. Hey, it comes up just like, well, not just like that, but it's got a blank slate. Set up OBS WebSockets to the IP address of the Raspberry Pi. Log into the Raspberry Pi. It's got a drag and drop interface. You can drag Pedro faces, Jordan faces, Vin faces. Make them do crazy and bizarre things while you're trying to figure out how it works before you make the video. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's how you can get all the function out of a regular Stream Deck. And this is going to work with anything from like the little 3-button job to the, wow, how much money did you just spend on that job?
That was $500, wasn't it?
The one I have is like $200. I got this one used on Amazon for like $120. I'm like, yeah, okay, that's still more than I want to pay for it, but I'll give you that much for it. Now, I'm very happy. I've been using it for a couple of weeks, and I wanted to, I got to use something for a minute before I'm going to tell other people, like, hey, go use this. You might be thinking, hey, Vin, Raspberry Pi, it's currently in use for, I don't know, just make something up because you don't feel like doing that. You can run this on the local host as well. There's a package, you just download Loopback, same process, just use localhost instead of the IP address, and you will be done with it. Now, it's not just OBS. Once you get into this, they're called connections in BitFocus, and there's stuff for controlling internet, IoT, lighting, like your Wi-Fi bulbs and all that fun stuff. And there's even work I've started in on that discussion for getting one developed for Adore and Mixbus for your DAWs, so you can do transport control, plugin activation, all that stuff. I'm very interested in that. And again, you can have multiple, set up on different pages with your connection. So I could be jumping back and forwards between these two devices. Very, very interesting, open source, completely free piece of software. I suggest go checking it out if you want to have the buttons. Or you can be like 99% of the people. They just buy the Stream Deck, put it on their desk, like, yeah, it looks like a stream.
I'm a streamer.
Yeah, pretty much. Listen, I joke, I do it, but if I'm over at your house and I see the mic arm, I'm going to pull the mic arm and go, dust.
To be fair, this is a bit dusty. I only speak here. I don't speak there.
You don't lick your microphone clean at the end of the show, you monster.
No, see, I got into the habit of not doing that because Jordan had implied that he had done something very, very naughty with the T. Brad Memorial microphone. So, no.
I can't even get into that, man. Can't even get into that. All right. We got a couple of slices of pie. But before that, if you like what we do, we are listener financed, patreon.com/Linux Gamecast. We get a bunch of bonus sodas. If you get an extra $1 a week to spend, we would very much appreciate it. And to all of those of you who do, stick around. You can be in the credits. Come say hi in our Discord. Also, if you sub to us on Twitch, hop in the Discord, hop in the IRC channel now. That's always going to be 100% completely free. No issues there.
Chat, pound Linux Gamecast.
Don't. Quit. Don't pound Linux Gamecast.
You totally should.
Hashtag Linux Gamecast. Thank you, each and every one of you. Yeah, we get to do this. We don't do commercials. We can go listen to the Pre-Pre Super Show. Somebody was like, hey, we'd like to give you some money. 2 people. When one was like alluding to, like, hey, let's work out a partnership and we can do a commercial. And get, you let us, and that's like something I'm super proud of. Our business model is to break even, and we do a pretty good job at that. Thank you again for that.
And if we're going to take bribes, it's going to have to be from Microsoft.
We'll always, listen, you can bribe us. We'll be your friend for an entire week. Pedro's got a wish list. I got a wish list for the studio. I will publicly shame you in everything I do if you get something for the studio. And Pedro will read something if you get like a little note. You can make Pedro say silly things. I'd take advantage of that if you want a Pedro ringtone. If
it doesn't get us banned off Twitch, you can make me say
banned
anything.
Off Twitch. Can we get banned on Twitch? What do you got to do to get... They're like, you go to court, and they're like, nope, you got to start streaming.
Of Twitch?
I want to be banned on Twitch. I want that to be the final ruling with no chance of appeal.
No, Twitch no longer exists the moment you're banned.
I want it with prejudice. So I'm like, man, that's what we're doing now. All right.
I would have fixed so many things already, but no, unfortunately not.
Slicebot?
Ooh.
I don't know, man. It's got too many leaves on it. That's
that if that's pesto and it looks like pesto, put some pesto on it.
Pedro, that's practically a vegetarian pizza. I mean,
except for all the pepperoni, but yes.
Tell me about hats.
Yes, hats. We have in the past mentioned that there were a bunch of people trying to get, and a few of them even succeeded at getting a full-on Power over Ethernet hat for the Pi. And that was something that the Raspberry Pi developers enabled with the Pi 3B Plus and the A Plus, which was, yes, they were PoE compliant. At the time, they were only 802.3 AF, which only allowed up to 12 watts, which was plenty for the 3 series. Yeah.
Have you ever been curious to look up
watts?
The reasoning for the AF and the 802.3? Like, we know, but what did you use as the excuse for it?
Honestly, if it's just, it's a standard name, they'll just call it whatever they want. Okay. They're just letters at that point. Okay. But now it is official. And it is the Raspberry Pi PoE Plus hat. So that actually supports the 802.3 AT standard, which allows up to 25 watts.
Look at that. It's Planar Transformer Silicon Sandwich.
It is. That is just the transformer that you're dealing with to stabilize the power from the hat to the Pi.
I'm going to be honest. This picture says... like something off if I could, it's an Enterprise and I saw some of that, I'd get right back off of it. I'm like, nope, we're good.
Yeah, no, that's a big hole. But it is, you can get 25 watts. With 25 watts, you can power a Pi 4 and any and all peripherals available for it at this point, including a screen. So yeah, that's plenty. Very nice.
How was your PoE game?
Here, I don't have anything that can do PoE, but at work, everything. Basically, everything is running off of PoE nowadays because there's no one in the office.
I have... this is my PoE thing. Wait, no, I lied. Up there, on top of that is my PoE thing. I could PoE this thing, giggity, but no, I PoE that thing. My MikroTik, the router for the studio, has PoE out on port 10, which is powering the studio access point. I don't trust that thing at all. Not even a little bit. It's been there for 6 months. 6 months. I still have to fight the urge to unplug it from the router when I leave. I've gotten to the point where I leave it on.
It's an access point. It's supposed to work like that.
It's PoE, and I don't know. I don't make these rules. I've gotten to the point where I leave it plugged in at night. So I'm making progress. I'm learning to accept. And it's not a lot of voltage. So yeah, that is my PoE experience. I don't know if I'd bother with that, but man, do I understand it though.
Oh, yeah.
Like, yeah,
you could have a Raspberry Pi. The one thing you have connected is the thing that you need to talk to it over the network. Even if you're not plugging anything else into it, you just plug it in, it turns on, and it's working. And then you can go set it whatever your workstation is, and you have a Pi just connected there.
It's
done.
magic. So
Yeah.
I know a lot of people think, to some extent, to be honest, I've never stepped on a Lego. Have you stepped on a Lego?
I have. I had a lot of Legos when I was a kid, and I'd walk into my own bedroom and there would be a random piece of Lego lying about. I don't remember it being quite as painful as the internet makes it out to be.
I don't know. I've always kind of put people who stepped on Legos like to the same people who like own napkins.
Yes, I do own napkins, 2 of them. One for me, one for Nori.
People have problems like hitting their mouth when they feed.
No, it's mostly because, well, I eat with my hands too, so I'm effectively a troglodyte.
Your child, yes, I understand this. Here's your chocolate milk.
I could go for some chocolate milk right now, to be fair.
The point being, before we were so deliciously sidetracked, is stepping on a Lego would hurt. Stepping on this would make you punch a hole in the wall. Fine.
No, that actually looks like they went there with a file to
that's a
clean it out.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like they deep-burred it, but...
yes.
How do we want to pronounce that? Phineas?
Phineas.
Phineas.
Phineas?
It's one of those words of like, hey, how do you pronounce that? Oh, you pronounce it Todd. I'm like, okay, fine.
Probably. It's someone's name, yes. It's the Phineas of Phineas.
This is cooling with a clean, for the love of flying spaghetti monster, don't step on it design. 2 pieces of aircraft grade aluminium as opposed to non-aircraft grade aluminium. CNC hotness. Well, hang on. Oh, hang on. We got the beauty shot.
Yep.
Oh, it looks so painful to step on. But hey, it won't be particularly warm when you step on it. They get a nice little thing here with showing that it doesn't thermal throttle. I mean, it comes with the 2 pieces, some screws, and heatsink. It's got some processor lube in it. So this is basically doing the same thing as my Argon 1 when it comes to, I don't know if we can see that. Jeez. Take 2.
Oh, you want to get up close? Close.
I'm trying. Listen, fight me, website. Fight me. I will. Where's the shot?
It's that one with the 2 shot. There we go.
There we go. This thing. So, yeah, it's just milled into the top. The same thing with the Argon 1 case, which leads to the same problem, is you got to do something with the heat once it's there. The solution for this, at least this has fins. So it's got that going for it. Argon 1 case. There's no fins anywhere on it, man. It just continues getting hotter. So you just have to put a bag of peas on it. Yeah. It's got a fan on the inside,
that
too.
That will cool it down.
Yeah.
For a bit.
There's genuinely a fan on the inside of the Argon 1 case just for spite. That doesn't do anything. Outside of that, I'm going to say this. It's shiny. It looks nice, but it's also $69.95.
Yeah.
It's a bit much.
Yeah, there's $70 for, okay, effectively, the 2 CNC bits of aluminum. Absolutely. And you're going to be paying for that chunk of metal and the CNC work. But unless you're using this in like a really rough industrial environment and you need
Pedro, sweetheart, nobody buys anything that's shiny and puts it in this is for people to put on a shelf, probably without a
okay, if it's a
this is
because shiny purchase,
Pedro,
yeah, you deserve it.
Say it with me, nerd jewelry.
It is nerd jewelry, absolutely, yes.
It's nerd jewelry. It's plain and simple. And if you're down with it, go for it, man. Get your shininess on. If someone was like, you have to use this, get a fan to put on top of it and make it practical. Then you could use it in an industrial environment. And
you can, that will fit a 60 mil fan on top of it easily.
I got super glue. It'll fit whatever sticks to it, man.
That too.
or screw. You could get a screw. I mean, you could wheeze on it, pay somebody to blow on it. Yeah.
You can put it under your ceiling fan.
Listen, Pedro, you could put the PoE hat and spin it around your head and keep it cool.
Yes.
Perfectly practical.
As long as that little clip holds, you're good. Just go.
Don't cheap out on the networking cable. I guess. I think you get a lot more for a lot less with the Argon 1 case, mainly because, I'm not saying anything. Like, a person who's going to buy this isn't looking for, bang for bucks or in, the SSD carriage or, power on scripts and full-size HDMI ports and all that other stuff.
No, again, the only use that I saw of it was you want to keep no moving parts and you want water and dust ingress because this actually clamps all around the Pi.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If you line those little seams that you see in the assembled pictures, if you line that with the gasket, yeah, you're not getting it apart first, but you're also going to keep all of the dust out. So that's a use case for it, maybe? I don't know.
It looks nice.
It's too much money.
Looks nice on a shelf.
It does. That's double the price of the Raspberry Pi, though. The actual computer that you're running.
Not today. How much is it?
Well, yes, not today.
Yeah, right.
Not during this particular shortage moment in time.
So everyone, if you want to tell us about your nerd jewelry collection or what you would do with a case like that, probably head over to our contact form, maybe.
Yeah, that is absolutely the best way to do it. linuxgamecast.com. You hit the contact button, you get a form. That's how it works. LWDW is the show that you need to send your feedback to. Tell us what you would do with the Phineas. I guess that is the official pronunciation because Phineas and Ferb. So there we go. So yeah, the contact form is fairly self-explanatory, and yeah, just let us know, and we will be happy to address your concerns or completely negate your feedback.
Pedro, what if I'm on the contact page and I'm going to get in touch with you, but I keep on trying to post links and stuff like that, and the spam golem keeps saying, hey, no, I'm just stuck, right? There's nothing I can do.
Yeah, no, there's nothing you can do. And if you got to the forum without reading the bits atop it, yeah, there's nothing you can do. Just go away.
Well, I am just assuming. You see, the problem is I didn't read about not trying to post links and stuff, but I probably also, when I was busy not reading, I didn't see the email address that you can send all that to.
Yeah, the email address that was right at the end of that line. Uh-huh.
I bring this up because usually once every other month I check our spam list, and some dude spent a good 10 minutes trying to power one through.
No, I have to.
It's like somebody's job depended on it, man. To which they had to spend a lot of time on the page looking at the email address saying, hey, send it right here. Litmus test. All right, beautiful people, we got to bounce out of here. But before we do, let's roll some credits, maybe cue up some music.
Oh, yeah.
I got a credits button now. Thanks, BitFocus.
You're living in the future. I saw the video. You have a load of pages with a load of different things.
I got 99 pages, but a loss of mouse focus ain't one.
Yes.
I made that joke. That's right. Dad jokes.
Oh. I was going to say something and then I lost it.
Gasp.
I swear I had something. What was I going to say?
I don't know.
Well, I guess I need to say thank you to all the lovely Patreons. You're all amazing.
Well, they know that. I mean, they're like, yeah, yes, whatever.
Effectively, you made the show possible, so you should know that at this point.
We see you next week, everyone. Bye-bye.